I wrote this book and it's for you. And she started crying. And I said, why are you crying? And she said, I was going to retire this year. She said, because I didn't think I was having an impact anymore. And I said, are you kidding me? We have 30 students. You have 30 students. We have one teacher. And she didn't know her impact on me, but that was my start was right here in Miami. And it led me on a path to becoming a writer.
Welcome to the Miami Guide podcast. My name is Mike, coming to you from Miami. And in each episode, we bring you an inspiring person to help you discover great things in Miami. Now, we have some amazing guests this month, as the Miami Guide has partnered with the Miami Book Fair. And we will be featuring interviews with well-known Florida-based authors talking about Florida. Our guests this month, Craig Pittman, James Clark, and Brad Meltzer, Jim Kushlan, Kirsten Hinds are just a few of the hundreds of authors from around the world gathering together in downtown Miami for the Miami Book Fair 2022, the nation's largest gathering of writers and readers of all ages. Now, the Miami Book Fair runs from Sunday, November 13th to Sunday, November 20th, and will once again host top authors, including music, theater, and sports celebrities. For more information, visit miamibookfair.com. Thank you for tuning in. Now let the show begin. Well, Brad, thank you so much for coming on the Miami Guide podcast. It's an honor to have you on the show. You're a number one bestseller, New York Times bestseller author, like over 11 best-selling thrillers as well. So I'm happy to have you on the show and looking forward to hear your story. And also we have the upcoming Miami Book Fair. Will you be attending?
I will be attending, yes. I'm going to be presenting with my friend Scott Turow, and we'll be talking about thrillers and murdering people and fun things like that.
Awesome. So, Brad, can you tell us, can you give a short introduction about yourself? How did you got started as a writer, and what inspired you to write?
I grew up here in Miami. I actually started in Brooklyn, New York, and when I was 13 years old, my dad lost his job and moved us down to Miami because, like everyone's grandmother, my grandmother lived here. And as a kid in Miami, my life was changed in ninth grade at Highland Oaks Middle School. I went to North Miami Beach Senior High School, and my ninth grade English teacher, a woman named Sheila Spicer, changed my life with 3 words here in Miami. She said to me, "You can write." And I said, "Well, everyone can write." And she said, No, you know what you're doing. And she tried to put me in the honors class. I had some sort of conflict. So she said, "Here's what we're going to do." She said, "You're going to sit in the corner for the entire year and ignore everything I do on the blackboard and ignore every homework assignment I give. What you're going to do is the honors work instead." And what she was really saying was, "You're going to thank me later." And sure enough, a decade later, I went back to her classroom. My first book was published, and I went back to the classroom. I knocked on the door, and she said, "Can I help you?" I said, "My name is Brad Meltzer. I wrote this book, and it's for you." And she started crying, and I said, "Why are you crying?" And she said, I was going to retire this year." She said, "because I didn't think I was having an impact anymore." And I said, "Are you kidding me? We have 30 students. You have 30 students. We have one teacher." And she didn't know her impact on me, but that was my start was right here in Miami, and it led me on a path to becoming a writer.
You're still based in Miami?
I am, yeah. I still live here. We moved away to Washington, D.C. for a number of years and then moved back here almost 20 years ago when our kids were born. So we missed the insanity, so we had to come back.
That's great. And to get your book published as well, was that easy? Did you have to do
No, of course it wasn't. If it was easy, as someone said to me, everyone would do it. I got 24 rejection letters on my first book. There were only 20 publishers. I got 24 rejection letters, which means some people were writing me twice to make sure I got the point. But I think I loved law school. I went to law school. I thought, that I went right after college. I went to the University of Michigan. I was the first in my family in my immediate family to go to a 4-year college. And I went to work for a guy after I graduated, and he said to me, "Come work for me in Boston. Don't go to law school. Don't do any other nonsense. Come work for me. I'll be your mentor." And I thought, okay, that seems like a good deal. And the week I got to Boston, I moved all my stuff to Boston and everything there. And the week I got to Boston, my boss left the job. And I thought, oh my God, I can't believe it. I've wrecked my life. I can't believe I wrecked my life. And so I did what all of us would do in situations where we think we wrecked our lives. I said, I'm going to write a novel. And the first novel I wrote, as I mentioned, got 24 rejection letters. But I said, if they don't like that book, I'm going to write another. And if they don't like that, I'll write another. And what started to, the week after I got my 23rd and 24th rejection letter is the week I started what became the 10th Justice, my first published book, which was now over 25 years ago. So it was definitely not easy, but I was definitely luckier than most because the second one did sell.
And what kept you going to continue to write?
I don't know. I feel like I'm going to try and do the rest of this interview without repeating anything that I've, for the most part, told anywhere else. So I'll tell you that I think what kept me going is just I was young and stubborn. I was 24 years old. By the time I was rejected everywhere, 24 years old, you still believe you're invincible, as someone recently said to me. And when you feel like that's the case, the rejection letters, every one of them hurt. Every single one of them was painful. Every single one. I have them all. They're in this closet next to me where I'm sitting right now. But I really felt like I just really wanted to do this impossible thing. And it's odd. I'm one of those people who if you tell me that I can do it, I'm going to do it again. I'm bored and I don't want to do it because I already did it. But the moment you tell me that I can't do it, oh, that's catnip for me. That's it. That's all I want. Then give me that. Whatever you tell me I can't have, give me that more than anything. So the moment they said you can't, we're not publishing your book, because I wanted to be a writer more than probably I did when I started.
Just to have that drive to get yourself published. And
listen, I think drive also comes from needs, sometimes. And I was down here. My family struggled with money. My family struggled with, it wasn't, just the struggle of it was a struggle. I felt like of safety of where are we going to live? How are we going to afford this? I remember going to a school. I gave a fake address to go to the school that I went to. And the fake address I gave put me in a school where everyone was wearing polo shirts and Ralph Lauren shirts and little logos. And I bought mine. It was like a crappy dragon from Zayres and Walmart. And I remember those days very, very clearly, probably more than I remember most days today. Those imprint on you. And when something imprints on you like that, it, again, you just, I had a need for it. It was my way out. I was looking for any way out, and I was struggling and kind of pushing to every angle and throwing elbows in every direction I could. But I knew I had to get out of where I was, and I didn't want my parents' lives. I didn't want to have their lives.
That's great. That's great. You in your books you put an enormous amount of research. Can you tell us something about your writing process? How do you start?
Yeah, I usually start with something that scares me. That's where I always go, because I feel like I know one thing: I'm not that special. So if it scares me, hopefully it scares other people. So for the lightning rod, the book that I'll be talking about at Miami Book Fair, it opens up with a man at a fancy valet, a man at a fancy steakhouse hands his car keys to the valet. We've all been to the valets at some fancy restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And the valet takes the car keys, but instead of parking the car, he takes the car and instead of driving it to the lot, hits the little GPS button on the steering wheel and says the magic words, "Go home." And the car's GPS plots a route to the man's house. And now the valet is driving to the man's house. He's got his car keys. Of course, because he's got that, he's got his house key on there too. because this is, what he's doing is he's going to rob him. This is a robbery.
Mm-hmm.
And as the valet gets to the house and breaks into the house because he's going to steal something, as he opens the front door, there's someone waiting for him with a gun who says, "You really think we didn't know you were coming? This is not a robbery at all. This is a trap." And soon the valet dies and someone else dies there too. And that body and where those bodies go unleashes an entire cascade of events that no one expects. I just ruined chapter 1 of The Lightning Rod for you. That's the opening chapter. But that all came from every single time I would go to a Miami restaurant that I'd hand my car keys over to the valet, being like, what is preventing them to know that I'm here for the next 2 hours? Mm-hmm. So that's where I always start a book, and that's the plot. The characters obviously take a lot longer, and they tend to come from some facet of my own life and some of my own. I have Zig and Nola, the heroes of these books, and Zig comes. He believes that the world's a good place. He believes that if you act like a good person and you're good to other people, that good can conquer all. It's a beautiful idea. It's a completely naive idea, but it's an idea worth fighting for. And that's my side of my brain that thinks the world is, made of good people. And then there's Nola, who's the female lead in the book. And she believes if you want the world to make sense, you grab it by the throat and you force it to make sense. Mm-hmm. She believes people lie, and the only way to, you must fight back, especially when you see injustice. Mm-hmm. And that's also an idea worth fighting for. And her cynicism is one side of me, and Zig's complete, romance of how humans behave is another. They're both versions of me, and these books are really me just trying to figure out which version of me is right. And of course the answer is they both are, right? So those come, I think people say they're my best characters. I hope it's because they're the ones that are truest to me. I understand them and I understand what they're going to do.
Mm. Interesting. You also have done TV shows, especially with Lost History, the Lost shows. And what if they would ever make a series about Zig and Nola? Who would you hope that would take the lead role for it?
Yeah, I never can cast. I love doing the shows we did on the History Channel. They were really fun to do, but I was the star of them. I got to be in them. So the casting was easy. I picked myself, right? I mean, doing Zig and Nola, though, that's hard for me. That's like saying, there's a movie being made of your life. Who would play your mother? Mm-hmm. You see your mom. No one's your mom. Your mom is your mom. That's who you see in your head, right? Like, and, my mom, may she rest in peace, looked like Linda Evans. But if you said she was playing my mom, I'd be like, that's not my mom. Like back in the 80s heyday. So to me, that's how Zig and Nola are. I can't see them as anyone but themselves. But I that's kind of the guy who's on Andor right now. I wish I can't remember his name, but the guy who plays he's like an accountant on there. He's like one of the bad guys who play Roddy in The Lightning Rod. He's the only guy I ever saw that I'm like, that guy looks like Roddy. Mm-hmm. He just looks like a guy who already existed in my head. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I never can cast any of these things. It's too close to me.
Well, we were looking forward to seeing whenever it is released, the show. You also write children books. Is it more fun to write for children or more difficult?
It's not. It's just, a good story is to me a good story, and that's all it has to be. And obviously, a kid's book doesn't have the metaphors, and it doesn't have the allegories, and it doesn't have the curse words. But it's still got to be a good story. So I don't treat them any differently. If I can't entertain you as a kid, I can't entertain you as an adult. I may make them a little simpler, but other than that, they're really no different. It's the only thing, I think kids today are just tired of being lied to. They're just lied to everywhere, especially on the internet every day. Their friends are lying to them, showing them how great their life is on Instagram. Everything that we see just feels like a big lie right now. Even I talk about the cliche things of people, screaming fake news. I'm talking about just feeling like the whole system seems like it's just a little broken. And I think that stories are there. I know they're fictional, but I when you can give people truths that's an invaluable gift. And I think stories at their best give you truth about life. Even if they're made up, they still are filled with truth. And especially our kids' books, they're based on reality. They're historical books. I mean, the facts in there are true. We're not playing around. And I think kids appreciate that someone's not, don't talk down to them. They're not stupid. I firmly believe that your readers are smarter than the writers who they read. And so we tell the story. If it's a story about slavery, we talk about, being an enslaved person. If it's a story about something that happened horribly to someone, or, we show you the real thing. And I think kids are so often lied to, and it's a disservice to them. We got to do better. I started the book series because I wanted my kids to have better heroes that they can look up to in life. I wanted to give them better heroes to teach them lessons of kindness and compassion and perseverance. And we started with I Am Amelia Earhart. We did I Am Abraham Lincoln. We did I Am Rosa Parks and Albert Einstein. And now we just have new ones. We've done I Am Muhammad Ali, where I featured Miami in there. We did I Am Malala Yousafzai, because I wanted everyone to hear the story of Malala. We're doing, in a couple of months, I Am John Lewis will be out. And I love the fact we did I Am Dolly Parton is the newest one that just came out. And I love that people use the I Am books to build libraries of real heroes for their kids and their grandkids and their nieces and their nephews.
Interesting. Yeah, you already answered a couple of my questions. But definitely interesting, the children's series and the characters you are writing about. And why you started the children books. Can you tell us, what would be your advice for beginning writers, emerging writers to start writing?
Yeah, I know this is almost cliche to say, but don't let anyone tell you no. Don't let them tell you no. I got 24 rejection letters on my first book, 24 people who told me to give it up. And I don't look back and say, well, I was right and they were wrong and ha on them. I look back and I realize life is subjective. And we all know it sometimes just takes one person to change the course of your history. One person to say yes and change everything. And your job is just to find that one person.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a great message. We'll be sharing that with our audience. So what's next for you? Any upcoming books?
Yeah, so we're working. So let's see what's coming out. We just came out with I Am Dolly Parton, is the newest kids book that just came out. And then we did I Am Superman and I Am Batman, are the brand newest ones that came out just a few weeks ago by the time you hear this. Which is literally me writing our kids' books, like Chris Eliopoulos illustrating our kids' books, but for Superman and Batman. In January is our new adult book for a nonfiction adult book. It's called The Nazi Conspiracy. It's about a secret plot to kill FDR and Churchill and Stalin at the height of World War II. It's an incredible story with literally Nazis falling from the sky in ways you never ever believe. But it also asks the question, why are we still fighting Nazis today? Why is this still an issue? And it's pretty staggering when you see it. So The Nazi Conspiracy comes out in January. And then a week after that, I Am John Lewis, the great civil rights icon, is the newest kids book that will be out in January. And then after that, we do I Am Temple Grandin, which will be our first autistic hero for the kids' books. And then we're also going to do I Am Wonder Woman, because we got to do Wonder Woman because we did Superman and Batman. So that's basically my next year of my life. And then I'm going to take a nap.
Well, yeah, it seems like, a lot of good stories coming up. Did any of your books ever get banned?
They have been. I can't even believe it. I Am Rosa Parks and I Am Martin Luther King Jr. got banned in Pennsylvania, not because of the content of them. They were the school board there. Every book that was on their list of books that were good for talking to kids about race, they put on a freeze and basically effectively banned them because a year went by and they still hadn't released them. So I went to speak at the school board meeting. I thought I'd save the day talking about Rosa Parks and reading from the I Am Rosa Parks book and telling her what an amazing person she was. And then all the students from the school started speaking, and they were incredible. They were giving these incredible speeches that were like the final scene of Braveheart. Like it was just the greatest speech you've ever heard. And they didn't need me at all. But we were happy to publicly shame this school board for doing something as disgusting as banning books in our current time. And I know that some people think, but if you ban the right books, then you're doing something good. And to me, if you're banning books, you're on the wrong side of history.
Mm. Yeah, that's well said. Well, Brad, thank you so much. It was an honor speaking with you, and hope to see you at the books fair. Do you have any last message for our audience, or where can people follow you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, you can come find me on social media. I'm at Brad Meltzer everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere you go to look up fun stuff on your device of choice. But the message that I have is I just need to say thank you. My home in Miami, and especially Books and Books, has let me have this career where I get to talk to imaginary people all day long. And I really appreciate that. And I know that's come from just the people of Miami who have been in my hometown and on my side all these years. It means a great deal. So thank you to every one of you who's bought a book, whether it's a kid's book, whether it's a nonfiction book, whether it's a new thriller like The Lightning Rod. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for supporting me in all these different endeavors.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Brad. It was great talking to you, and honored to have you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you, Brad. Bye-bye. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Miami Guide podcast as much as we enjoyed creating it. Well, you can find more information about our guest in the show notes. And if you haven't subscribed to our show yet, please take out your phone right now and subscribe to the Miami Guide podcast so that you don't have to miss another show. All of our episodes are also on our website, themiamiguide.com. And I would love to hear your feedback about the episodes. I appreciate if you'd leave me a review on iTunes. Well, we have more episodes coming up. We're brewing with ideas, stories and content we can't wait to share with you. Well, once again, my name is Mike, and I'm here to inspire you with amazing stories, capturing the vibes of Miami, and help you discover the magic of this city. You can follow us online everywhere as The Miami Guide, on Instagram, Facebook, and our website, themiamiguide.com. Thank you so much for listening, and see you in the next episode.